My boyfriend and his best friend are going on a week-long vacation without me. Hey everyone, I need advice because I'm a wreck. My boyfriend, 29, planned a summer vacation to his mom's friend's house in Hawaii with me and his two best friends, his guy friend, 25, and his girl best friend, also 29. We were hyped, planning it all spring. But then his guy friend bailed, leaving just the three of us, me, my boyfriend, and his best friend, let's call her Kate. For context, we've been together 9 months, and we're serious, talking about moving in together, saying this is long term. In early June, when the guy friend dropped out, Kate called my boyfriend and said she's not comfortable with me coming along since she doesn't really know me and doesn't want to feel like a third wheel. She gave an ultimatum: if I go, she won't. Instead of talking to me, they changed plans behind my back and booked a trip for just the two of them to Costa Rica. I was trying to figure out my summer vacation days and hadn't heard updates, so I asked my boyfriend which week in August to plan for Hawaii. That's when he dropped the bomb. He'd talked to Kate, and since she didn't want me there, they're going to Costa Rica together. He said maybe we could do Mexico later. I was crushed and tried to talk about how it made me feel. We agreed to a makeup trip to Copenhagen, somewhere we both wanted to go, and I asked to meet Kate to feel better about their trip. On July 4th, we visited Kate and her boyfriend in another city. Meeting her was okay, but the vibe was ice cold. She wasn't friendly at all, and my boyfriend even noticed, saying she was rude to both of us. I'm super outgoing and usually connect easily, but I couldn't break through with her or her boyfriend. They were also weirdly tense with each other, arguing about their relationship and his upcoming 3-week solo trip, which happens to be the same time as my boyfriend's trip with Kate. I tried to bond with her to ease my nerves about their vacation, but after the visit, I told my boyfriend I still felt uncomfortable and disrespected by how it all went down. I pushed for us to work on things as a group and asked him to come up with something to make me feel okay about their trip. When we visited his family, they asked about the vacation and were shocked at how he'd rearranged it. They said they'd be furious in my shoes, which led to a fight. I begged him again to find a way to make me feel secure, but he just said he'd never do this again, which felt hollow. He half offered to cancel, but the tickets and bookings were already paid, and I didn't want to ruin their plans and deal with resentment from him or Kate. He kept pushing me to come up with a solution, dragging his feet until the trip day arrived. He bought me a bag of candy as a gesture, and I drove them to the airport. I feel devalued and destroyed. I want to break up, but I don't want to throw away what's otherwise been a great relationship. Before we get to the update, pause the video and drop your thoughts in the comments. To me, this is straight up trashy. It's one thing to leave your partner out of a trip you didn't plan together, but to plan it with her and then ditch her because your friend doesn't want her there? And with such a weak excuse, she doesn't know her? Then meet her. They did meet, and Kate was still cold, yet they went anyway. What do you think? Update: 9 days later, the day I drove my boyfriend to the airport, I was gutted. He texted me, but I didn't reply. I didn't know what I wanted but knew I couldn't act while feeling so low. The next day, I thought it over and sent him a message saying I didn't feel safe or loved because of how the trip was handled. I told him I'd leave his stuff at his place and give his keys to a neighbor. He called, but I didn't pick up. He texted, saying he didn't understand what was happening. All week, he kept calling and texting, but I couldn't bring myself to respond. By Thursday, he realized I was serious and started asking logistical stuff like which neighbor had his keys. When he got back and saw his things at his place, he freaked out, calling and leaving a long voicemail. I was at work all day and still didn't want to talk after. He begged for an explanation, saying he didn't get why I was upset. The next day, I sent another message making it clear we were done. He got mad, sending a flurry of texts about how I was throwing away everything we built. In an angry voicemail, he said he didn't understand my anger, refused to accept the breakup because I didn't let him speak, and demanded I explain in person. I tried to stay calm, but it got to me. I tried calling but broke down crying and said I'd email instead. Here's what I wrote. The time apart gave me space to think about what I need in a relationship, and I realized we shouldn't be together. I'm sorry for asking you to change parts of your life you shouldn't have to, not for me or anyone. From the start, this trip was handled with incredible disrespect. Your friend, who I didn't even know, gave you an ultimatum, her or me. You chose her. You didn't suggest she meet me, even though I'm supposedly your long-term partner. That would have made sense. You didn't try to convince her to bring someone else or consult me. For most people, that's enough to end things, but I stayed. I tried to make it work. There's history between you and Kate that's murky to me. I heard rumors you spent a night together while you were with another girlfriend. Supposedly nothing happened. I also learned you were once in love with her, at least maybe, until she started dating her current boyfriend, closing that door. It took her boyfriend a long time to be okay with your friendship, and you worked hard to make him comfortable. Yet this woman, a total stranger to me, single-handedly cut me out of the trip. You didn't even tell me until I asked about Hawaii. You booked tickets for the two of you while I was cooking dinner for our guests, holed up in my room for over an hour picking flights. I asked you to join us, but you kept saying a few more minutes. There was no reason to do that then. Kate's in our time zone, works 9 to 5, she could have handled it. It made my stomach churn all night. To feel better, I asked to meet her. We arranged the trip to see her and her boyfriend, and as you admitted, they were inexplicably cold. Our first talk was about how she messaged her boyfriend while he was still with someone else to pursue him. You told me about their recent talks, showing their relationships unstable. I told you it worried me, yet I still wanted it to work for you, for me, for her. I was planning a serious future with you and saw no point in banning your trip with your best friend. But every detail of this trip planted more doubts. Your parents and grandparents were shocked when we told them it was clearly a risky move for a relationship only 9 months old. We talked about this at the climbing gym, in the car, while booking our Copenhagen Airbnb, when I said again I wasn't okay. I begged for your help, but you asked me to figure out how to feel better. I had no ideas. The plan to hang out at my place for board games before your trip got cancelled. Kate was supposed to sleep over but not spend time with us. You said you didn't discuss it with her in time, and it wasn't even brought up 2 days before the trip. That crushed me. You didn't know what to do, and I don't blame you, things were out of control. I didn't know either. My only options were to endure it or break up, and I didn't want to end things, but I had less and less strength to deal. Kate arrived late, and the next morning, I drove you both to the airport. You saw how miserable I was, I know you did. You left, and when I didn't reply to your text, you said you hoped I was okay and went to bed. No calls. The rest of the week was awful. Your response to my message was basically, "I'm sorry you feel that way," calling me unfair. You never acknowledged that a trip to a honeymoon-worthy destination, one we'd talked about, was a terrible idea, even with my reluctant okay. People in relationships don't put their partners through this, except maybe your friend. My emotional needs were unmet to a point of no return. We had amazing moments, but there was too much unnecessary pain. I can't accept your relationship with Kate. I could have made you choose her or me, but I don't want to. I want you to keep your best friend, and I want to walk away. I loved you, but I won't fight this battle or spend my life hearing I'm crazy for not seeing how platonic your friendship is. It's like convincing someone to change their favorite food or color. I'm not okay in this relationship, and I don't want to feel this way anymore. I don't need your permission to end it. He sent an apologetic email, taking responsibility for almost everything except one thing. He refused to admit his relationship with Kate could make me uncomfortable or that I couldn't handle their bond. He said the only thing that ruined us was my perspective. I replied that trust takes time to build, and he put too much strain on our relationship before that trust was there. He agreed and apologized. For me, it ended peacefully, but this relationship format doesn't work for me. His responses didn't change anything, I'm sticking to my decision. Before we move to the next story, I agree with the author's clear-headed view. If a relationship doesn't work for you, you leave, especially after only 9 months, no marriage, no kids. Cut ties and avoid more pain. What do you think? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Story 2, caught my wife cheating with our friend on a beach trip, prenup left her with nothing. I'm 40, my wife's 32, and we just moved to a new neighborhood where we didn't know anyone. Luckily, through our kids' friends, we met some awesome couples to hang out with. One couple, let's call them Larry and Pam, really clicked with us. We had tons in common, and they lived this glamorous, jet-setting lifestyle despite having kids. Before meeting them, my wife and I didn't think that was possible. We hit it off fast, hanging out often, helped by our kids becoming buddies too. Everything was great: double dates, group trips, talking about parenting, or just chilling. A couple of months in, I noticed Larry getting a bit too comfortable. Once, he flirted with my wife, and I jokingly told him to cool it, she's taken. Pam shrugged it off, saying he's just a flirt, nothing serious. I was confident in my marriage and thought light flirting was harmless as long as boundaries weren't crossed. But it kept happening enough to make me uneasy. My wife's gorgeous, I'm not saying Pam isn't, but you'd have to be blind not to notice my wife. I started wondering if Larry respected our boundaries. Every summer, Pam and Larry sent their kids to camp and convinced us to send ours to the same one. The idea was that while the kids were away for 2 weeks, we adults could take a child-free vacation. It sounded amazing, a second honeymoon for me and my wife. We were stoked. In the weeks leading up, my wife got distant. I chalked it up to her missing the kids, it was our longest time apart from them. But I noticed her sneaking calls and hiding her phone screen, which got my spidey senses tingling. The trip came, and we joined Pam and Larry at a rented beach house we all chipped in for. It was a luxe spot right on the shore, hot tub on the deck, big grill, total paradise. The first night, we got beer and wine, I was grilling, and we all got a bit buzzed on the deck. I caught my wife and Larry flirting again, but I was in a great mood and laughed it off. I went to bed early, and the next morning, my wife wasn't in bed. I found her on the beach in her bikini, swimming, with Larry right there, shirtless, standing way too close, clearly checking her out. She didn't push him away. I went out, and they greeted me like nothing was wrong, which calmed me a bit, but I didn't like him ogling her. I dragged him back to the house. That night, we all went dancing, drinks flowing. Larry kept gravitating to my wife on the dance floor, and I was done laughing. He was always near her, putting his hands on her waist, and she leaned into it. Was she so drunk she thought it was me? I waited till morning to talk. She brushed it off, saying I had nothing to worry about, claiming she barely remembered dancing with him. On the third day, our last, though we planned for 6, it all fell apart. I caught Larry eyeing my wife in her bikini a few times that day, but I trusted her and tried to relax. We were prepping for a grill session. Pam was with me, skewering chicken and veggies. I didn't notice my wife and Larry disappear. I went inside for more meat and heard noises from the laundry room. It was obvious 2 people were trying to hook up quietly. I flung the door open and saw my wife and Larry going at it, too caught up to notice me at first. Seconds later, Pam walked in for veggies and saw them too. She screamed at Larry. He stumbled back, knocking my wife to the floor. They were shocked we'd caught them red-handed. I turned and started packing. My wife chased me to our room, begging me to stay, saying Larry meant nothing. It was just a moment. The laundry room was a moment? It made no sense. I told her to back off, and she did. I saw her phone charging on the nightstand and checked it to see how long this had been going on. Their texts went back weeks. They'd been planning how excited they were for the beach trip. Larry said he couldn't wait to see her in a bikini. At first, she called it inappropriate, but he kept pushing, and she admitted she liked him and wanted some excitement. They'd hooked up once before the trip at our house, in our kitchen. I showed Pam the texts. She was as crushed as I was. We left the beach together, talking the whole drive about how angry we were and how we wanted to ruin their lives. When I got married, my mom insisted on a prenup. I wasn't filthy rich, but I had an inheritance, a good job, solid salary, and great benefits, enough for my wife not to work. Our prenup was clear: if we divorced due to her infidelity or breaking marital vows, she'd get a small portion of my assets. Since she cheated, I could walk away without losing a dime. It was the best way to hit her where it hurt. She didn't come home until the next day, making me wonder if she stayed to be with Larry. I told her we were divorcing and she needed to leave. She argued she had rights and deserved half of everything, like she'd planned it all along. I wondered if she ever loved me. I reminded her of the prenup, and I saw her outrage turn to panic as she realized she was screwed. Pam and I both filed for divorce. I didn't have to pay my wife a cent, sold the house, and now I'm piecing my life back together. I know good people are out there, I just need to find them. That's the story. Thanks for watching till the end. Check out our other videos linked here, and good luck.